Hey guys, what's up? It's Brian. Today I've got a story time for you. It's about the time I got catfished, and it happened just a couple of days ago. So I figured, let me talk about it. So I want to tell you the story, tell you what happened, tell you some kind of warning signs that I picked up on, but foolishly kept going along with it. And then afterwards I want to tell you just some thoughts and feelings that I have about the whole situation. So basically, if you guys watched my last live stream video, you know that I'm single now, and as a single guy is likely to do, I downloaded Grindr, and I was back home at my parents' house, and I was on Grindr, and I was just looking around, seeing who was in the area, and I got a message from this guy. He looked pretty cute in his picture. He sent me a bunch more pictures. We started talking, but he couldn't meet up that night. So that was that. So kind of early on, I'm already getting some negative signals. The fact that he was unable to meet up, and then the next day we were supposed to meet up again, and yet again he couldn't meet up. He had some excuses. That's usually a pretty big red flag when someone is unable to meet up. However, a lot of people do have busy lives, and I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. So we started chatting on Grindr, and he starts telling me this story about some past encounter that he had. And it was a long story, and so he said, hey, why don't we just call and talk on the phone, and I'll tell you the story. So we did, and he told me the whole story, and we started talking, and we started really connecting, and we ended up talking on the phone for 6 hours. Literally, we started talking at like 11:30 at night, and we talked until about 5:30 in the morning. So 6 hours is a really long time to talk to someone on the phone, especially someone you've never met before, and you just, that was the first time we spoke, and we talked for 6 hours. We shared a lot of personal information, or at least so I thought it was personal. On my side, it was very personal. Since this person was a catfish, I later found out. I don't know what he told me was true, what was made up. So after that, I came back here to my apartment, and we continued to talk, and we would talk, usually late in the evening for a few hours here and there, and over the last week, we probably spent over 20 hours on the phone together. So we definitely really connected, regardless of the fact that he was catfishing me. I definitely think that we formed some, connection, because otherwise you don't talk to someone on the phone for that long. So one thing that I also noticed was that besides the first 3 or 4 pictures that he sent me when we first started talking, he never sent me another picture again. I would text him just like a selfie. That's actually why I use Snapchat a lot, because with Snapchat, while it is possible to fake pictures to use like third-party apps and rooted and jailbroken phones, for the most part, there's at least a better baseline of trust with Snapchat, because you can see who you're talking to. You can very quickly get a snap, get a video, and kind of prove that it's them. So as you guys know, I'm moving to Los Angeles at the end of this week, and I wanted to potentially see and meet this person that I had been talking to for so long. And granted, because we did meet off Grindr, there was some expectation that, maybe things would happen. So we end up making plans to meet on Saturday. He has told me all about the various bars he's been to, about how there's drag nights, and I've actually never been to a proper drag show before. I'm not much of a bar and club person, although I'm not against it. Dan didn't drink, and so while we were together, we just didn't really do that very frequently. So I was kind of pumped. I was really getting excited about it. We were gonna go, he was gonna get me to dance, and I'm not a dancer. And then we were gonna come back to my apartment probably afterwards, and we had this whole night planned out. And then I get a text at like 9-something o'clock at night, supposedly from a friend, telling me that the guy I'd been talking to was clipped by a car when he was leaving the gym. So the story went, they were leaving the gym, and they were walking across the street to where their car was parked. Some guy in a pickup truck was making the turn, and he cut the turn too tight and clipped him in the back with his mirror. And he ended up going to the hospital. He had bruised ribs, and so obviously our plans were off and we wouldn't be able to meet. And so I was bummed about that, but at the same time I was very, concerned about this person, this new friend that I had made that was in the hospital, that he was in pain. And now in hindsight, I don't think any of that happened. I think he got, cold feet because he was faking who he was, and he came up with some extravagant story. So while I did have a genuine concern for his well-being, the story just really didn't quite add up. I know the area, so he's from my hometown, but he had told me as his fake alter ego that he had only moved there recently. He had grown up in like Indiana or something. I believe now he's actually like born and raised in my hometown. He was a few years younger than me, so while I didn't personally know him, like it is just a little creepy in some way because it's someone from my area who, like, I don't know, it's just a little weird. I mean, I really just, at that point, the red flags had really mounted up in my mind, and I finally just said, like, you know, can I, like, send me a picture of you? I want to see what you look like. If you're actually hurt and, like, looking all injured and like a sad puppy, I want to see that. Like, I want to see who I'm talking to. I sent him, like, 1 or 2 just selfies, like, I had taken during the day, and obviously he sent nothing back. And he came up with some excuse like, oh, well, I don't look so great and the lights are off and I don't want to get up and turn, like, at that point, like, I knew this was not true. I knew this wasn't a real interaction anymore. And so I told him a story, texted him a story about a time when someone else had completely, like, just messed with my level of trust. It was years, and I've actually talked about this person in who I thought they were on past videos. I won't get into that story right now, and that triggered him to basically come clean. And he sent me this long message basically saying, you know, I have to come clean. I'm not who I have said I've been. He told me that he basically created the Grindr profile originally to try and catch a friend who might have been cheating, and messaged me because I guess he thought I was cute, and things just kind of went too far, and he just kept going with it, and he feels horrible about it. Blah, blah, blah. After that, I basically all I did was ask him, like, who he actually was. Like, can you at least, like, I think after all of that, after 20 hours of talking on the phone, I at least deserve to know who I was talking to, who I connected with, who I told all these personal stories. He finally told me his actual name, and I looked it up. And, you know, I'm a pretty good internet, like, detective. I can look up a lot about people. So definitely verified that is actually who he is. I believe that's actually who he is. And at this point, I mean, he might see this video, but I'm probably never going to talk to him again. I trust that he is going to keep the private things that I told him private. At the same time, I know where he works now. I know, you know, some of the things that he does and around the community, and I'm sure his employers would not be happy finding out that he basically catfished me. He lied to me and pretended he was someone else for a whole week and all this stuff. So that's what happened. It's, you know, I'm not holding a grudge. It is what it is. But now I want to just quickly go into just some of my thoughts about the whole situation and some of the feelings I have and things like that. So first of all, the question is, why do people catfish? Why do people do things like this? And I mean, his story was that he was trying to catch a friend cheating originally. I don't know if I buy that. He could be catfishing guys left and right. I could just be one of many that he's catfished. He probably hasn't talked to most of them for like 20 hours on the phone like he did for me. But I don't necessarily buy that he just doesn't do this. The sad reality, I think, with why people catfish a lot of the times is because they don't have the self-confidence in themselves, in their bodies, that they would be able to talk to these other people, the people they, like, their targets, if they didn't catfish. Sometimes they're just creepy guys who are looking to, like, collect pictures, but a lot of times it's because, you know, if they were themselves, they would have no shot. And I think the sad reality is that that's kind of true, right? I mean, here I am, I'm moving to Los Angeles at the end of this week. I'm not really looking for anything serious. I'm not really looking for friends. If I'm on Grindr, I'm just kind of looking to see if there's, like, attractive guys in the area, right? So my what I'm looking for on Grindr is just basically, you know, based on aesthetics. I'm looking for attractive people. You know, I'm not looking to make these connections. I wasn't intending to talk to someone and make a deeper level bond like that. And so, you know, being completely honest, seeing him now, what he actually looks like, there's a high probability that I would not really have replied. I might not have engaged, just because, you know, it's not what I was looking for right now. And that's kind of sad. That's kind of unfortunate, because clearly without having known what he really looked like, we did connect. The one thing that I think sucks the most now is that, you know, we are a product of our experiences. It's kind of just evolution. It's natural that, you know, we learn from our mistakes, or at least we should. And so now basically, as a result of this, I'm going to be a lot more, not a lot more, but I'm going to be more closed off. I'm going to be more reserved now. My interactions with people in the future is going to be impacted because of what this one person did. And in some ways, I guess that's good. I guess I should be more cautious, especially since I do have a YouTube channel. It is very possible that people are going to try and catfish me. So I do have to put my guard up a little bit more than I guess I had. But I'm naturally just kind of a trusting person, and I just kind of naturally trust people until they prove that they're not trustworthy. And I mean, I feel like I'm gonna have to change something about how I approach people now. Otherwise, I'm just potentially setting myself up to be catfished again, to be lied to again, to be manipulated again. And that kind of sucks. I'm like, if anything, I'm just most annoyed that he like was so dishonest, and he kept up this charade for so long. It's kind of unfortunate because, you know, potentially if he had been honest up front, straight off the bat, or if he had come clean long before we made plans to hang out and to meet, then, you know, maybe I would have been more willing to continue to talk and make a friend at least, because he seems like someone who genuinely could be a good friend. But now, because of what he did and because of what he did to my like trust, I can't. I have to move on, and I will. And that's just unfortunate. So that's my little story. That's all I got for you guys. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Have you been catfished before? Have you been the catfish? I'd love to know what you think. What experiences you've had, why you think people do this, what can be done about it. Please be safe, guys. If you're out there, don't send like nudes to people you don't know. Don't send personal information. Be smart, be safe. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'm off to California this weekend. I have to pack so much. It's crazy. More videos coming soon. Hope you subscribe. Give this video a like if you like it. If you like Maddie, she's staying here with Dan. So this is my last couple of days with her, and it's so... I'm literally just trying to spend all the time I can with this dog because she is so fucking cute, and I love her, and it's gonna be so hard without her. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.